What is up, humans of the cardboard? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we are doing a top 5 video. We're looking at the 5 best sets from 2021 in Yu-Gi-Oh! There have been some good ones. There's also been some not so good ones. So today I'm going to be talking about the 5 best sets over the course of the past year. I just think it's fun to go ahead and look back at the past year and really think of as like a whole how all the sets were compared to each other. And we'll be given a list here because I think it's kind of gone a really interesting way, at least my list here. So of course, you just got to keep in mind, we're looking at the set as a whole. There's a bunch of different components, right? If you are just specifically a competitive player and nothing else, of course, you might have your own your own structure to what your list might look like. Same thing if you're just a casual player or a collector. Obviously, that changes your priorities. I'm trying to look at everything as a whole here. And trying to take that as what it is, but of course there are going to be different opinions, so feel free to leave your list down below for yourself. But before we even get into the actual top 5 list, let's talk about a couple of honorary mentions. For the first honorary mention is for worst set of the year by far. It's not even close. It's Structure Deck Freezing Chains. We got really excited because Ice Barrier won that Structure Deck vote, right, with a bunch of different what was it, at least 10 or 20, maybe even 20 different archetypes, and we got to vote which structure deck we wanted. It won, and like the structure deck's just horrible. The deck still is poo. Nobody really wanted to buy this. I would not be surprised if this was the worst selling set of the year. The only desirable thing from the set was like the new Trishula Synchro is cool, and we still haven't even seen it do anything with any other decks really. So yeah, definitely worst set of the year. The next honorable mention is worst core set of the year. Core sets are the core sets, right? So they're the biggest facet of new cards that come to the card game year in and year out. And so for the worst core set, it's by far and away Blazing Vortex. Literally, when you go through and look at this set, there is Pot of Prosperity, and there is almost nothing else. Man, if you love the Albaz lore, cool. You might like the Springen's archetype, right? And there's some other stuff in there that's like fine, right? Ancient Warrior card, the good card that makes them like actually an interesting engine, right? And some other stuff too, but it's nothing that's like really interesting. And so for me, this was the worst core set of 2021. And then for like the actual honorable mention, this was the first set, and this was the only set that I actually had trouble with. This is the one set I wanted to include in the top 5, but it just barely got edged out. It's actually Lightning Overdrive. Probably the second best core set overall from the year. While it doesn't have a ton of like crazy high end stuff, it had a lot of like small things that are like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. You have some Trap Trick support. We know they're rogue-ish. We have Plunder Patrol support, right? Magistus, Adignisters, Charmers, Dogmatica, all this cool stuff. Evil Twin cards, right? Had a lot of just like archetypal support. You also have stuff like Amazement, which is a cool new archetype. Now, War Rock being in this set does not help it out at all, but still, I felt like overall this was the second best core set overall for the year of 2021, so I wanted to mention it here. So without further ado, let's actually jump into our actual top 5. Starting off with the other 5, these are in order. The 5th best set of the year, I'm scrolled all the way down on this, is Maximum Gold Eldorado. I know you might be like, John, you gotta throw that higher, man. Get that shiz higher. My only problem is I think fundamentally in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's hard to be the best course or the best set or like one of the best sets when you don't even have any new cards in your set. This is an all reprint set, and while it is really cool and some of the premium gold rares look really nice, and you have some you also, for collectability, we have some alternate arts and stuff like that. I think it's really cool. I just think you can only go so high without having any new cards in your entire set. Now, that being said, this is a really nice reprint set. A lot of value to be had here. A lot of people that can get cards they couldn't get before because the price, the reprints in this set make those easier to get a hold of. But yeah, for me, I think you can only go so high. That's why this was an easy number 5 for me. And yeah, Maximum Gold is great. I mean, there's a ton of great reprints, and the alternate arts only help the collectability of the set. Moving on from here, number 4, kind of in the same vein, we got 2021 Tin of Ancient Battles. We know this. We always know the Mega Tins are some of the best selling sets of the year every single year. They reprint most of the best cards from the past year, and this one's no exception. There's a lot of really good reprints in here. The one reason I really put this above the Maximum Gold El Dorado was for one specific card, and that card is exactly, is it even, okay, is this right here, Crossout Designator. That it had one card in it that's new, just like how last year's Megatins had Dragoon. This year's has Designator. Now, Designator hasn't been like the overall meta-defining threat like we thought it might be, but it's still a good card. And I do think it'll be a card that people will consider for decks for years to come in the competitive scene. I just felt like this card being in this set was the one giant chase card that it needed to edge out Maximum Gold overall for on the list to get a little bit higher. So number 4, Tin of Ancient Battles. Next up, we move to our third best set of the year. I'm putting Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm. Now, this is where things get a little dicey. This was the set that I kind of went back and forth with Lightning Overdrive on which one's better, which one's worse. Overall, I went with Synchro Storm, probably because this is like the best Legendary Duelist, in my opinion, in years. Now, maybe not from a collector standpoint, maybe not from a value standpoint, but there's still a lot of good value in this set. But overall, when you're looking at like not just getting pointless support, it felt like in a lot of Legendary Duelists, they would take just popular anime archetypes and give them the just like bare minimum of support, and it doesn't really help them playability wise, whereas this set did like the opposite, right? You've obviously got the Speedroid stuff. Speedroids went from being like, oh, it's like a fun deck, has a lot of cool extenders, to now it's like an actual pretty decent deck. If you play them, you need to be ready for it, because if you underestimate what Speedroids can do, they actually will steal games off of you, even if you're playing a tier 1 meta deck, which is really cool. Secondly, you have the Lyralist stuff. Now, Lyralist is straight up meta, right? The pure Lyralist build is probably tier 1.5, maybe tier 2, so that's already like high level stuff. And when you combine it with the Tri-Brigade engine, that is legit one of the tier 1 like 3 best decks in the game right now. Could arguably be the best deck in the game. The ceiling on that deck is crazy. It also can pivot. It's just a harder deck to play, but that doesn't really dock points off of it, right? So Lyralist coming out of there, actually becoming like meta pretty much here, is awesome, and really gives high marks to this set. And the last thing, when you say like, what is Fleur? Fleur doesn't do anything. Yes, the support they have here for Fleur isn't like amazing, but considering where is that card? Baronne de Fleur was in the set. This is the generic one card that everybody probably wants to have, just because it's that amazing of a generic level 10 synchro. You've got a chase card, you've got an archetype that's immediately meta, you've got an archetype that goes from tier 5 to tier 3 and playable, and I think that's great. That's a huge step for Legendary Duelists. I hope Legendary Duelists from this point continue to do this. It looks like the water one will be in a similar vein as this set, right? Marine sets look pretty good, sharks go to the next level, and even weird Mako Tsunami decks become like, have like legit wind conditions that can shut down like the top end of meta decks. It's pretty good stuff. So there you go. Legendary Duelist, Synchro Storm, number 3. Moving to number 2, I've got Brothers of Legend. This set just came out. This set is only a couple days old here in the TCG, but we've known for, like a week, almost 2 weeks, what the set has had, and I think it's pretty dang good. Now, the one thing I will say is I feel like the new cards in this set are not the craziest thing in the world, but I feel like the reprints really carry this one home. I mean, on top of the fact that like you have the high-end cards that you can find in this set, like Starlight Rare number 17 Leviathan Dragon with the crazy text on it. You've got stuff like I don't even know where it is in this set, but we've got Dragoon as a Starlight Rare as well. So you got some very crazy Starlight Rare, like high-end pulls people can chase for, as well as just insane like meta reprints anyway that are already like huge. We've got stuff like go down here, Forbidden Droplet, huge, so huge. We've got Nibiru at Secret Rare. That's a nice reprint. Nibiru is not cheap right now. If you keep going through, you got Mind Hacker. This was previously a prize card only. That's a really nice addition to this set, of course. You've got hero stuff like a Dusted Gold and Malicious Bane that have needed reprints for so long now, and Magician Souls. As far as like the the new cards go, there's a couple of interesting cards that like support stuff. There's a Lyralist card, there's a Speedroid card, both interesting there. There's a Piri Rice map, which is a generic searcher for a decent amount of decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! But as far as the big supports, I think it's mainly Sharks and Utopia, which neither of them jump to like competitive play. I don't think either of them fall into even tier 2, but I do think they become like legit high-end like tier 3 rogue decks that probably everybody should know what they do, because they both have some busted win conditions for sure. I mean, Utopia can just set up like 4 negates, and the Shark deck can straight up just set up like Double Toad, F-Zero, and maybe even Kraken in like their crazy hands. And that's a crazy starting board. So of course you need to be as ready as you can for decks like those. But yeah, I still think the set overall, just because of the reprints, like kind of gets edged over the Legendary Duelists, just because Legendary Duelists tend to not have the best reprints. They have a couple of okay ones, but this one does not have amazing reprints for sure. It's mainly Brothers of Legend really blows it out of the water as far as the reprints are concerned. So there's my number 2. We moved to number 1. This one was never in question. I feel like everybody should know this if you follow the game any somewhat closely. We got Burst of Destiny. This is the best core set of the year. This might be the best core set in the last 5 years. Straight up, this set is amazing if you follow core sets for what core sets are. If you're looking for banging new archetypes, some banging high-end generic cards that a lot of decks want to play, and competitively, and then of course there's always side stuff for support for other archetypes, as well as just new, like more fun archetypes, Ice Jade being that. Maybe it'll get better down the line, but as far as the new archetypes go, you've got Sword Soul. This deck's already tier 1, of course, so that's already a huge leg up. You have a tier 1 archetype in your set. We've got Fluandereeze, which if it's not tier 1, it's probably tier 2. Again, another huge leg up. That's 2 of their 3 new archetypes are just really, really good competitively. And then you've got a bunch of crazy good, like cool support. You've got hero support, which is very nice. We'll talk about that a little later on. Reptilian stuff. The reptiles have been on a train moving somewhere fast. I think at some point, if they keep up this kind of support, they will be good at one point. We'll see when that is, though. And then just a bunch of other stuff. I mean, I could go down the list. Like Evil Twins become like legitimately a tier 2 deck. Like after this set, it's really cool. And you've got cards like Cupid Pitch, you've got Magistus getting their new win condition, which is really nice. It's all really crazy stuff. And then of course you have like the generic like card that like throws this set over the top. We got Dragoon last year. This year we got Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. This card is seeing much more play than Dragoon at the moment. And I'll be honest, this card is crazy. I mean, I've played it a little bit. This card's so crazy. It's continual disruption. He floats back to the field every single turn. He is a bitch and a half to deal with and actually keep off the field for the duration of a duel. And he is the chase card that every set should hope to have something like this in it. And I just felt like this set really covered like everything. You've got meta stuff. You've got well, I don't know about collectible stuff. Well, there's always like there's always Starlight rares, right? Stratos obviously is a huge like Starlight rare option, but and then you've got some other cool things, Small World, right? Some other secret rares that are definitely really interesting that a lot of people will want to get their hands on. So yeah, I feel like the set overall, it's the best set of the year. I don't think there's really much debating to have on this one. After this set, I think you can argue it, but I think this one blows all the other sets out of the water. But there you go. There's my top 5 best sets of the year 2021. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Obviously, feel free to have your own opinion here, but this is, I feel pretty safe on this. A lot of sets early on in the year were horrible. And if you see this list, right? Let's see. Maximum Gold just came out last month. Megatins came out like what, a month and a half ago? Like it's not that old at all. Not that. Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm came out last month. Brothers of Legend just came out like a week ago, and Burst of Destiny like 2 months old. Literally all 5 of the sets came out in like the last two and a half months. And all the bad sets were early on in the year. I hope Konami gets better at like diversifying that. Like Dawn of Majesty and Lightning Overdrive are both solid core sets, but like nothing too crazy. All the best sets are like just stuck together at the very end of the year. Hopefully the Ghost from the Past for next year is better. Hopefully the structured decks are better. Like Freezing Chains was awful, but Cyber Strike was not great. And hopefully Albaz Strike is an amazing structure deck. I think it will be. And hopefully they get back on that train. Because when structure decks are amazing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is at its best because it means a lot of people can play a lot of more meta strategies. at a much more affordable price. So we'll see where we go. That's going to do it from here today, guys, though. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one down the line. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.